Aeolid's wines died, not as a way of speaking. The man who had been shaped entirely by movement, who had crossed seas with names like injuries, who carried his ancestor scales in his blood and had navigated by them his entire life, when still, not peaceful. There is a distinction, and it matters. A storm is something you can engage with. A becalmed sea gives you nothing to push against, no direction, no resistance, only your own reflection and the weight of the horizon, going nowhere in every direction at once. He had his child. He had the memory of her hand in his, which is a particular kind of having that works by contrast, that reminds you constantly of the absence by being a near approximation, that falls short in every specific that matters. He had the knowledge that he had loved with the completeness a person is capable of, and that completeness had not been sufficient, had not been the shield he believed it was, had not answered for itself the way he had promised himself it would. He understood in time that the punishment was not the losing of her. The losing was the moment. What came after was the living with the understanding of what had been taken. The days stretching on with that understanding, unchanged and undiminishing, like a note held past the point where music becomes something else. The winds did not return. Apollina did not return. The precinct continued its business without interruption, as it always had, as it always would. The smoke rose through the fishes each morning, and the suppliants climbed the sacred slope and received their answers and descended with their new burdens. Life arranged itself around the absence, the way lives always do, not by filling the space, but by growing around it, accommodating the shape of it. The way a tree grows around a wound in its bark. Somewhere ahead, in ages neither of them had been born to yet, in bodies neither of them had been given yet. The cycle was already waiting. The loom kept moving. The thread kept running. The god's decree did not require attention or maintenance. It was in the fabric now, and the fabric would hold because it had been made by something that existed before either of them and would exist long after both. They would meet again, in other lives, in times and places. Neither of them could have imagined standing together in the groves of Delphi. And in meeting, they would recognize something, and in recognizing, they would reach toward each other. And in reaching, they would lose each other. Because the decree was patient and exact, and it had been constructed by a god who understood suffering at its most architectural, at the level of structure rather than wound. This is the shape of certain loves. They do not end. They are interrupted over and over, in perpetuity, and the interruption is the point. The loom does not pause. The thread does not break. It simply keeps running, and the pattern it makes is not something you can read from inside it.